I was very lucky as a kid, really, because I always wanted to play football. My parents were well in with on the amateur side of it, obviously, but they did all the catering and he was social secretary and that. And Dickie Walker was the manager at that time. He spent a lot of time with me at night learning to kick the ball, because although I was a big kid at that age, I couldn't kick the ball. And he made me kick 10 footballs into the centre circle before I could stop. That was just one of the pressures. It was nice to go over there and help. I even actually played for their A team. I was just at a programme on Saturday and played for their A team at 14, which I shouldn't have been playing. I was under another name. I don't know what it was.
And this is actually a cutting from the evening news. And for those who can't read it, I'll just kind of read it back. It says, acrobatics by Milkins. I didn't know that, did you? Acrobatics by Milkins, the Portsmouth goalkeeper, as he clears a curling shot from a corner by Copping of Fareham in the match at Bath Lane last Saturday, which Portsmouth A, which the team played in the Hampshire League, kind of won 2-0. So, can you remember that game, John?
I don't remember the game we played. So, I was saying to you earlier, we used to play in the youth team. I was playing the lads league, which was down there, and used to play in the A side. That could be all in one day sometimes. They pushed us around playing football. We went to the Navy, the Army one day, where they're training now, Hillsey. We beat the Army 9-0. George Smith walked in and said, that wasn't good enough. You all go back training, and I'll see you in the morning. You can see what a hard bloke he was. And when I came back, in that period of time as well, he had come as manager, and I was on tour with the England youth, who was in Germany, I think. When I come back here, he said, "Oh, this is our international goalkeeper, have it?" And he kind of nodded. He didn't say too much to him. And then he said, "Well, now you've got to prove yourself." And at the end of the season, he signed on 2 or 3 other ground side boys, and he called Brian Yeo, you might remember Brian, and myself up in the office, and said to us, "Sorry lads, I'm not going to sign you two." And I'll tell you what, the earth fell through you just went silly.
This is the programme, and you'll pass it around in a minute. This is the programme for the Coventry game. And in those days, the way the programme was kind of done is they just called players by their surnames. However, you've got your initials, John, by it. J. Milkins. Anyone got a theory why that might be? Given the fact you've only signed on by that point. He was a junior, but he was an amateur. So therefore, now he was regarded as an amateur. So we think that the reason why you had an initial was to symbolise that you were actually an amateur. But also, John isn't your first name actually, is it?
No, it's Albert.
Albert, yes. So
You say, "Well, I'm John." No.
Don't tell me McCann that. So is there a reason why you didn't adopt the name? Was it just a family thing?
Well, Dad was Herbert, which is the right name, and he was always called Bert. So, and when I was in hospital, the nurses evidently had said, "He's not an Albert, he's a John."
Right.
That was it.
So
I've got Chris and Albert John.
But everyone called you John.
No one knew that.
I
So
see
I
when
went to
the,
school, that was the problem. They used to call out Albert Milkins and no one answered.
Yeah, so we've got John there. Yeah, so kind of on the
Casual on the wing.
so on the left there. So from the left, we've got Roy Smith, Brian Yeo, Keith East, Graham Thorne,
Oh,
Tony
he was a local boy.
Caswell.
He lived in Lee Park.
And then we've got a heading session going on where we've got Rod Taylor, John Coleman, and Robbie Waters, and we've got
My dad, yeah.
George
My dad's the one in there on the left in the middle front, and leaning right back. I don't know what he's doing there. Yeah.
And then we've got also Mickey Slaymaker, again another local lad. That way we've done a good non-league career. Fred Popmore, practicing ball control. That's kind of what you needed to do. And I think that was probably, do you reckon that was probably taken in the old gym that used to be in the northwest corner? I think that was done there. Pompey's goalkeeper made some fine saves on Saturday. And we reckon this is probably about 1963, maybe 64. And one of the reasons we can kind of date it as well is not only the kind of fairly youthful face, but I think in that time you notice the kind of Pompey or John's wearing white shorts and white socks. Now Pompey's colours at that time was blue shirts, white shorts, red socks. But if we were playing a team that wore red socks, we'd wear white socks. And we did that probably throughout the mid-60s, I think, probably from about 63 through to about 60, 66, maybe even 67. So if a team with red turned up with red socks, we'd end up wearing white socks. So when you see sometimes Pompey teams sometimes wearing white socks, well that's probably because we were playing team.
Could have been Leighton Orient or somewhere like that.
Yeah, it could have been or Bristol City or Swindon.
White shorts.
Yes. So, but a fantastic kind of pose there in that sense. Kind of, I think what they say, get your body behind the ball, John, isn't it? That's the kind of thing. I think you're well and truly done that one there. Do you remember this game, John?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, we played Swansea and they were on the verge of going down. And we scored, so didn't they Highland scored? We were winning 1-0, but if they got a draw off of us, then they would have stayed up. And in the second half, they got a penalty, which as you can see, I'm saving it. Well, I did save it. And they went down, I'm afraid. And my next door neighbour came from Swansea.
So very. I do. There were some great action pictures in the 60s and 70s that were taken from behind the goal that really kind of capture a moment in time in that way. So a great penalty save there in 1965. The Evening News obviously used them as kind of stock pictures. And it says here, John Milkins, one of the best young goalkeepers in the second division, a fact appreciated by several clubs with money to spend. So, transfers, John, were ever any talk of moving on from Bratton Park in your time there?
Well, the only thing I knew that Arsenal came in for me at that time. And I just took it as, oh, that's nice, isn't it? You know. But I didn't push it any further, which probably Campbell told me I should have gone. I said, yeah, but what if you don't make it? You've always come back, you're an Arsenal player. They'll buy you anywhere, won't they?
He's the manager of Burton Lee, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Burton Lee probably manager then, yeah.
Billy Wright.
Yeah, Billy Wright, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, well, Billy Wright, when I played for England Youth, was one of our managers. He was the manager.
I think this is YouTube. I think this one.
More question.
Well, ask your question then, Jake.
It's my first ever game.
Down to it.
Yeah. I was 9. Dad took me to see that game, and it was the first ever time Pompey had been on Match of the Day. It was on black and white, obviously. But yeah, I was going to ask you the question about the game. Telling you it was my first game and what you can remember specifically that you broke your arm. But the thing that stood out to me was that a bloke called John Wingfield hit you. The
Centre half.
Yeah. So you're laid out on the floor, he's laid out on the floor. The refs played on and they scored. They only had
Yeah,
scores.
not only that, I was told they went out for a throw-in on the Bratton side, and they carried the north end side, and they carried on.
Well, as you know nowadays, if you look at the goalkeeper, he gives the foul against you. So I couldn't believe that.
The ball's in between us, and I've come out diving like that, and he's kicked under the arm. He didn't kick the ball, he kicked me. And the ball went down, then it went out that way, like that. And the referee never stopped it.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And they actually got another, I think Ron Tyndall went in goal. They got another goal after that, won the game 3-2.
Because you had no goalie on the bench then. I think Alex Wilson come on, he was a fullback.
Yeah.
And there was no goalkeeper.
No goalkeeper.
One sub.
And that's the first thing Dougie Davidson used to be the trainer. He used to come out and say, you've got to get up, there's no goalkeepers. I've got to get up. What's wrong? Oh, you're all right. Tip her up,
about 6, 9 months ago or something, and a guy
Battix as the trainer, and of course Gordon Eve was down as coach at that time. So it's got a great story with it as well. So we're very pleased to have this from that fan. So very, very pleased. But apparently his dad took his mum on their very first date, I think it was, to Fratton Park.
Good man.
Good boy. Very good. I can't do it, very sad. Anyway, there you go. And he said to her at some stage, do you want something or whatever, thinking, you know, be an ice cream or whatever, hot grill or whatever. I said, I want a signed ball. I want the ball. I want it signed by this boy. And he eventually delivered, and he got this, which is a great story. We don't actually know which game it was from, but it was towards the end of 1965, John. So it's probably October, November time, something like that. So,
And I think that's the thing. We do take things into the archive, don't we? Really, in that way. So if you know anybody or anybody who's got something, and even if they're not able to donate it at this stage or want to donate it at this stage, we also like to know collections that are out there as well, so that we can kind of like, you know, record where stuff is, because we can always bring things in for kind of temporary exhibitions and so on. So it's great acquisition there for the History Society archive. And then Newcastle, yeah, I'm sure it's Newcastle, possibly. There's a good shout actually. Yeah. Shrewsbury, yeah, kind of, because then beyond Shrewsbury, going there with the old factory one behind it. We reckon this is probably QPR, Loftus Road, because Loftus Road, again, those flats still exist, but now they've built the ground up all around it. There used to be a low concrete terrace at Loftus Road. So we think this is probably about 1967. We went up to QPR, we played them in a big promotion game. So like, again, that was on Match of the Day as well. I think that one in 1960, December 1967. And we've beaten Ipswich and Blackpool in the two previous games. And we were top of the table, and we went to QPR, who won the League Cup in '67. And I think we lost that game 2-0. And the wheels came off that promotion season, didn't it? Can you remember that? That 67-68 season when we were sort of top of the table in December. I mean, have you got any sort of thoughts or theories as to why we didn't quite get over the line that season?
No, really. You know, we lost it over the weekend, didn't we? Easter weekend, really, where we had to play Friday, Saturday, Monday. We didn't play them, did they?
No, I was going to. A couple of years ago.
George Smith, he got Ray Potter, Ray Hiram, me, Harry Harris, John McClellan, Georgie Leyward,
Yeah.
and I think that's Gordon Neves.
Yeah.
The clipboard was just showing his grinning face down there.
Yeah.
That could be Bobby Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably Campbell there. Yeah, I think that might be. I think maybe George Smith in the foreground.
Yeah, George
in the back. That might be Alvin McCann next to him on the right.
Yeah.
So, what was, this was sort of pre-season training. What was that kind of like, John, pre-season training back in
It was
the
hard
day?
because it was always sunny down there. We always had sun down there. It must have been the best weeks we started.
Right.
And to tell you the thing there, we trained him one afternoon, one morning we trained, and in the afternoon he had us back, and it was getting slacker and slacker, and he started to, what are you lot doing? He says, we're knackered, boss, can't we have a rest? You're knackered, what's up with you? Right, see that tree over there? I think maybe then, but you can see up there. Right, first one there and back, tenner. I'll tell you what, I've never seen 30 people like that.
Unfortunately, you are letting one in here, John, I'm afraid, but this is,
No, hit the plus.
no, did it? All right, okay, yeah. That's not what the caption said. Anyway, this is actually my probably the first photograph I ever saw of you, John, to be honest. Because this appeared in an annual called the All-Stars, Football All-Stars annual. It was a red one, as I seem to recall. And this is a game, where's the game here?
Palace.
Palace, yes indeed. Right, this was a game in April 1969. I think Palace were just about to get promoted. And again, I think in those days, interestingly, that football, I don't think was actually in that position when the shuttle was taken. But it was one of those where they'd actually cut the ball out and moved it to make it look artistically a bit better than it was.
It was in my head.
Yeah, it was in my head. Absolutely. I wasn't going to make it the same, John. I think you're without a doubt. But I think your expression tells it all, though, John. I think that one's got past you there in that way. But again, another great action picture from behind the goal. There really were some terrific shots done in those days. I'll come to that in a moment. But this is some of you might remember Alexander Plummer, who was Plum in the Sports Mail. So on the occasion of your 200th League and FA Cup appearance in 1969. Plum did this beautiful caricature of you. The safest pair of hands outside the Bank of England. Yeah. And your ambition is to play for Pompey in the first division. Well, that never quite came off, but yeah, it was. You agree in there? Yeah, it did. Yeah. Well, I think George was always pretty well dressed, wasn't he? Really, he kind of like. In fact, remember in the George Smith collection, they've actually got in at the house. They've got some of George's old jackets and ties. So we're looking to do an exhibition using the football as well, maybe at the Portsmouth City Museum, where at the moment kind of Barry Harris's kind of like sailor suits on the top floor of the museum. We're looking to do maybe an exhibition of kind of George Smith's jackets and ties and stuff.
They picked me up at the station and took me along Portsdown Hill, which is a beautiful view. We took them along the seafront and whatnot. So I was quite impressed. Obviously living in Sheffield, where at that time you had the steelworks and all that. Yeah, I was quite taken aback with it, and I eventually signed on. But he said, you know, if you come down here, you've got to have your hair cut, because I had hair down there. Probably remember. And I did have it cut, actually. I had probably that much off. Right. But he won the battle. Right. So that was it. And, you know, listening to John, I thought he was a terrific manager. Right. Very fair, you know. When he is.
Oh, look at your face. I think it's not gone in, has it? Yeah. I think that's a look of relief there. Anyone know which ground this is? Right, Chris Gibbs at the back. Luton, it is indeed, Kenilworth Road. And what I don't understand is, why did those people decide to stand behind the floodlight? I'm struggling to get around that one. I mean, at Pompey, sometimes we haven't got a choice with pillars at that time, with those kind of like, you know, classic sort of orange footballs and stuff. But spot the difference. Right? So tell us the story of your teeth then, John.
We were playing at Arsenal in the Youth Cup, and they swung a corner in, and I came out lovely. I caught the ball, and the elbow went right in there. Smashed all my teeth. And I had to have 3-4 out, and it took weeks because it was all that gas and air. I've never been to the dentist since.
Okay, so that's it. So, but you made sure whenever you did, you had your picture taken. No, you kind of.
That one's
Yeah. No, this is the FA Cup game. Well, this is, we've got Save of the Season picture coming up now, right? But it's, go on.
That was a hard game.
Yeah.
The pitch was, it rained all the game, I think. The pitch was very muddy.
Freezing.
They scored 1 goal, and Trevor scored 1 minutes to go, didn't he?
He did. But talking of Saves of the Season, you know, this was it. Right now, you're nowhere near the ball, John. So who has made the save of the season?
George Lane.
George Lane, yeah, on the goal line there. I think he just tipped one round the post. Now again, I think that's against the laws of the game, and he probably got sent off today. But in those days, I think he probably got away with a caution. So this was the penalty that Arsenal got in the first half at the front end. Do you remember who took it for them? No, one McClintock. Peter Story, yeah, Peter Story with that. Peter Story took the penalty, and I think he did put that one past you there.
The other one passed me up there, didn't he, for the winner?
Well, of course, yes, in the replay, yeah, we went up to Highbury after that. So, we were talking about the classic goalkeeper pose there. I think that's kind of very, very classic one. I think that was pre-season 1971, that one was taken there. I say, you haven't changed a bit, it's true. That was...
Yeah, it was always immaculate, John. I have to say that when I used to watch
It was a wing.
the hair was immaculate.
Stick it on well,
And Norman Ray,
Brookery.
that's fantastic.
Then the problem was,
My dad used
what's his
to
name, Dennis Compton used to get on all the London tube trains, and Johnny Hayes advertised for Brookery, and I should have been there.
We've got someone else's dad was a Brooklyn
My
boy.
dad used to wear Roderick all the time, and everyone used to comment. I think his response was always good enough for John Milkins.
Yeah. So you were clearly kind of inspiring people to
Well,
kind
it's
of...
called the Brookery.
Absolutely. You kind of got a well-deserved testimonial, so obviously you've kind of been 10 years at the club, and this was your kind of a testimonial fund there. So this was an autograph sheet of kind of people who were involved in that. I think David, I think yours is on the right there, your signature, yes, and kind of got, I think we've got that's John Collin, who was a club chairman at that time, I think. Nicky Jennings, Owen Hand,
Great point. I'm not sure of that one.
You can actually read them.
yeah, the kind of the big tree, yeah, then Mick Travers has done one there, I think Richie Reynolds. Who else have we got down there? Some of them. Norman Pipe down the bottom, Ray Iron.
Bill Co's story. Mr. Bill Jim Story, Ray Iron.
Jim Story, Ray
George Lane, Jim Standard.
John Collins.
I've always been told a story that about in 1970, we went down to the Dell to play in John Sydenham's testimonial, and we beat Saints 4-2 that day. And the story always is that when they came to your game, they wanted to get a bit of revenge. And I mean, was there any truth in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
We only had the small squad, and we had injuries, didn't we, David, that night? We had one or two hobbling around.
Yeah.
And Lenny Phillips playing for us.
Right.
George wanted to sign him because he'd been 10 years younger. Because he was the best player on the field, really.
But it was...
They took Benj on us, they hammered us that night.
yeah. So,
And the weather was terrible again.
yeah. But nevertheless, to get a testimonial, that's a tribute to kind of your kind of staying power, that in terms of the team.
They gave a penalty just outside the box, or we thought it was outside the box. Bobby Keller argued with the referee for fair time. Are you playing with David?
Can't remember, John.
No. They wanted back up, don't they?
Yeah.
But they were arguing out there with the referee, and the boy put the ball on the spot. And you like you do, you go in the middle of the goal, you're ready. And I'm sure the referee walked across, whether he blew his whistle or not, but he walked across the face towards us. Anyway, he looked at me, I looked at him, he shot. And I dived down here and saved it, or up there. Referee then said, no, I didn't blow my whistle. The argument still went on a bit. Take the penalty again. And it was the same situation, really. Broke looked at me, I looked at him, we're ready, off we go, and I saved that one. Big Stubbsy, in that time, Bobby Keller said to the referee, for Christ's sake, give him a bloody goal, let's get on with the game. So you got bored. Then Stubbsy, the big centre half of them, I'll take this, and he ran from about 20 yards. And he hit this ball, and it just was rising like that. And I got a hand to it, it went over the bar. It made people tell me kick the bar, but it may have done, because it actually went out the ground. It went over the ground and went to get a new ball as well. But over the three situations, there's a bit controversy about it all, but
Yes, I think they're probably the blue shorts, so it's probably that 73-4 season. And And again, I think you're a bit off brand with the goalkeeper top. Did you wear the goalkeeper top that you chose, or did the club supply that for you?
Yeah. The kit was all supplied.
Supplied, yeah, right.
Unlike today, they could take the shirt off and give it to the crowd, but you had to wear it for the whole season. And then it was passed down to the reserves, then it went to the youth, and then it went to the youth team.
You have to wash it.
No, we didn't get that far. The Chapman's orders on the directors, weren't they?
You haven't got gloves on. When were gloves brought in, John?
When you wear it wherever, whenever.
Well, there was an era where before you didn't wear gloves, wasn't there?
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
Peter Benelli started the club situation,
Yeah.
all these little green things. They were like linen. As soon as you pick the ball up, they were rubbish, they were full of water.
What was the story behind that?
I got some ribs in the back. I dived out and blood kicked me in the back, and I was going to be out for the rest of the season.
Right.
It wasn't that long, I don't think, but it was only short. Next minute we got two goalkeepers. You know, Dave Best came from Bournemouth, I think.
Yeah.
And he was older than me anyway. And then a young kid, Twister, I think he was.
Yeah.
And he was 21. But Deacon said to me, he was the one, you've got to go, I've got to sell you. And I said, well, I ain't going, I've been here 18 years now, and I'm still better than these two. And he put me on the list, that was it. I said, well, I ain't going, don't you come here. And then in that time, I got a phone call one Saturday morning. I was out with gallstones, I think it was. And it was Jerry Summers from Oxford. And his first words were, "Hi John, nice to speak to you. I'm desperate." He's had an operation on his arm. He's going to be out for 6 months even if he don't prepare properly. He said, we've got a 15-year-old goalkeeper. He said, he ain't going to make it through the season. It wasn't at Fratton Park. I played at Hull and we won 1-0. That was the first game that we'd won for some time. I worked over in Southampton, for 23 years in the snooker club. And this bloke came in one night and he said to me, "I know you from somewhere." And I said, "No." "Are you local?" "No." I said, "Well, I live in Portsmouth." "No." "I'm from up north." I said, "Oh, right." He went off, played his snooker, come back. He was, "I do know you. Bloody Milkins." I said, "What's that got to do?" He said, "I was stood behind your goal at Hull." He said, "You saved everything. You stuck a leg out, stuck an arm out." Do you remember that? And then I took the ball to Ray and he went and stuck it in.
Yeah, so-
It was a last minute goal. There were hardly any Pompey fans there.
No.
Partly because it's a long way, but secondly because it came between the two Arsenal games. Like Arsenal at home, and then the replay was postponed, and then the replay was again on Monday. So that Saturday at Hull, I only went because I knew a bloke who was at university there, and he said, "Come and start." Well, I think when Ray scored that goal, I think there were only 4 of us in the ground. Oh yeah, you were
I
fantastic.
think we're kind of coming to a close now in terms of questions. So I've got one final picture, which is again one of my favourite kind of pictures, really, in that way. But fabulous picture again. This is from a game. You saved this one, John, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, so
Yeah, this is a Pompey playing away at Watford in October 1969. And again, kind of classic pose. And I think, respect to the photographers back in those days, because it's not like these days where you kind of shoot 600 or 700 kind of frames. They probably had two cans of 36 frames to work with, and so there's still some terrific archive photography out there. And again, this is a terrific picture of John making a save. And it is certainly obvious here. And I think you've got bandage on your knee, John. So I think maybe that was when the football got you. You made the mark on your leg, maybe. But I think you've got carrying a knee injury there, I think, in that way. But anyway, I think hopefully you've all enjoyed John's time.
John crying, yeah.
Sorry, say again? Yeah, I think Elton would have been in the crowd back there in those days. So I think we'd like to thank John for coming along. It's been a terrific morning, I'm sure. Some great memories there. So yeah, let's